Hey everybody, it's Matt from Wilson's. We're doing another video in our Cook the Book series. Today we're doing Frank Stitt. He's a chef from Alabama, one of my favorites. We've made a few things from his book, and we're going to talk about him and what great things he makes. Frank Stitt was born in Alabama, and he went to college at Berkeley in California. Was a philosophy major. This is in the early 70s. He got interested in food and was in the right place at the right time, and started working for Alice Waters at Chez Panisse, one of the most iconic American restaurants of the past 50 years. There he met Richard Olney, who was also one of America's best food writers at the time. Richard Olney is actually born in Iowa. Richard Olney knew James Beard. One thing led to another. Frank went to France with Richard Olney. Richard Olney was working on the Time Life series of cookbooks at the time, which was actually pretty influential in the 70s. There he met Julia Child and hung out with James Beard and worked at some great restaurants. Eventually came back to the States, went back to Alabama, which is really nice, and he opened in Birmingham a place called Highlands Barn Grill. Immediately it was one of the best places in the South. He won the James Beard Award, if not the first year, maybe the second year that they had it, for best chef in the Southeast. He opened several other restaurants since then. I've been lucky enough to work a few events with him, met him a few times, and he's one of the sweetest, kindest men I've ever met, and an amazing chef. Frank Stitt's Southern Table has meant a lot to me over the years, so we wanted to do it just because it's something I go to again and again. So what we've made today from the book is a stuffed quail, roasted oysters, and a field pea and sweet corn salad. Kind of represents a lot of his style, kind of a Southern, gentlemanly, French-influenced plates. Really, really beautiful food. The quail, we actually get the same quail that they get at his restaurant from a farm in South Carolina. This dish is quail stuffed with apples and pecans and cornbread. So we make that stuffing, make the cornbread, crumble it up with the pecans, thyme, a little bit of chicken stock, roasted apples, carrots, pecans, celery, and onion, and stuff it into the birds. And then we grill those. We like the char it gets, and sometimes if the grill's too hot, we'll finish them in the oven. And we've put it on top of a salad that he also does with the dish, which is just a little local lettuces. We're using romaine because it's from Johnson County, with some shaved apple and pecans. We garnished the salad with a 25-year-old balsamic that we use here at the restaurant sometimes. I think it's really great. He has a few roasted oyster dishes in the book. This is a real simple one, and these oysters are from the Chesapeake. We have a couple different kinds, but mostly from the Chesapeake. Raw oysters put back in the shell, topped with caramelized onions for some nice sweetness, a little bit of butter, because why not? Chilies, so we use our red chili flake that we use a lot. Breadcrumbs and a slice of bacon. In the book, he recommends pancetta, but he said bacon's fine too, and that's what we would have used here. And then they just go in the oven for like 5 minutes, really hot. The salad, it's just nice to have something. This is a salad you could use as a side, but could also be something if you wanted to spoon it over the quail, that'd be nice as well. Sweet corn charred off the grill, little tomatoes. We're using South Carolina field peas from the same area actually where the birds come from. There's basil and parsley and onion that's charred as well in a simple vinaigrette. Couldn't be simpler, but that's kind of what he does. He takes dishes and kind of distills them down to some really key flavors that work well together, and they're usually home runs, and these definitely are. One thing that's come to mind to me doing this cookbook series of videos is the way people use cookbooks. It's something that I think a home cook might keep them fairly precious at times, keep the paper on them. Obviously this one does not have the paper on it anymore, lost that. But also it moves back and forth. A lot of the best cookbooks I have move back and forth from home to work, just because it's good inspiration. I like to share it with my cooks. This one obviously has as well, because it was my back seat for a while and got a little bit of a suntan here. But you know, the best books I have markers on them, torn pages, you know, dog-eared pages, spines that are broken. So I have an office at home that's full of cookbooks, but the ones that I really use, you know, you can see just from pulling them off the shelf how beat up they are, which in turn usually means I love them. One thing about this book especially is Frank is a great writer. And I just touched on some stories from his life, but he's got chapter after chapter of things that have happened to him over the years. I mean, he has a rich history with some of the most iconic food people in the world, and there's some really good stories in here. He also has another book of Italian food, because he has or had an Italian restaurant as well, and I use that one just as much. Really inspirational stuff. One of the events I did with him was the Nyman Ranch Farmers Appreciation Dinner that they have, or at least used to have every year in Des Moines. And they get some chefs from around the country, and they come in and everybody does a dish, and it's a big party, it's a lot of fun. He was the big name that year, and he didn't fail to get right on the line and cook with us, and was just so generous with his time. And often his food, like a lot of great chefs, is just deceptively simple. You think, oh, I could do that, and you taste it and you try to replicate it, and it takes a lot more work than you think. So there's always a little magic there with a great chef like Frank. So thanks for watching this. We do a number of these cookbook series. I take a book from home that I love, and we cook some things from it and talk about how great it is for people to embrace cookbooks and to learn about them and to engage with them. And we'll be doing more of these. So this is Matt from Wilson's Orchard. We'll see you next time.